Okay, and we're recording. Okay, so welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Ann Smith. You are on Iron Sharpens Iron Council, a ministry. Oh gosh, see, I always mess it up. I almost had it. Okay. Welcome to the channel, a ministry dedicated to uplift humanity. There you go. I'm gonna get it memorized one day, but I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be. Never claimed to be, because guess what? None of us are.
Well, I one time I did change my name on Facebook to I Am Perfect. Only because I know that for some reason people have an ego in them that makes them feel like unless they approve of you, you cannot claim to be whatever you wish to be.
How about that?
Just to piss people off, I made my name I Am Perfect, and people who I did not know literally came to tell me just how opposite they thought I was, and I found that fascinating.
Wow. They took time in their day just to give you negative vibe. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Well, we're not going to go down that road. We can leave the negative nillies on to the left, and we're going to continue on the right side of this thing and empower humanity. And so as we were talking about, I mean, you are so much fun. We were talking about off camera really quickly about the empowerment piece, the actual confidence piece that it takes. I mean, people think, I tell you, Malika, I can't tell you how many hits that I get, email, chats, phone calls, people like I have some magical secret. The secret sauce is never quitting. It's really just that simple. I just continue going, and I know how frustrating, learning something or breaking through, breaking down legalese and all of the pool of misinformation that's going around. I get it, but right. I just persevere. That's it. It's just right. That's my,
and that's a personality thing, perhaps maybe something learned. I mean, or I hope it's something that people can learn, because I love to share, like, what makes me focus and what makes me, move forward, and what gives me any level of success that I might have. It's definitely comes down to the self-confidence that people have.
Right.
And, from schooling, and which is, of course, indoctrination, people are taught to always look to a leader outside of themselves. Look at the teacher, look at, even when I was in school and people would argue about role models, and they'd be like, oh, we don't like so-and-so celebrity, for example, because they're not being role model to my child. And I thought, like, so who are you, parent? Are you chopped liver? You're a piece of crap, and so you need somebody else to lead your child, or maybe even you, like, somewhere, like, you need to get about yourself and not looking outside of yourself for a leader, and just gaining confidence in yourself. And it comes from knowledge and application of that knowledge, and getting whatever that result is, and then redoing the process again, learning each time from the steps that you've made. And just that self-confidence is really the key to it. And whatever people need to do to have that self-confidence and maintain that self-confidence and nurture that self-confidence, that's what that's what we all have to do, because that's the only thing that keeps me,
encouraged and
forward on everything,
Yeah.
Like I said off camera, whenever we're feeling like nothing is happening, it's because we are not doing our part in making whatever the thing is. As you mentioned, the whole thing about law and life is really not that confusing. However, our thought processes from our indoctrination in school, there's only a very narrow way of thinking. And sometimes we need creative thinking, and sometimes we need critical thinking, and sometimes we need to combine those things together. Sometimes we need group sessions to help eliminate ideas. And, those are types of things that, like I said, that I have done and I do, and that even though, of course, I'm applying it directly to the things we're learning now with law and life. It's just, like I said, a personality thing is what I think it is. And I hope it's something that can be learned. So there's something I impart. People can say, hey, you know what? I can do that. I will internalize that, you know?
Absolutely. Confidence breeds confidence. So one of the things that I, actively sought out when I, started this journey or in any new endeavor worthy of my time and attention, you network, you surround yourself with people who, have the success that you desire. And that's pretty much all I did. I just studied. I just continued my research, and I did my due diligence, and whenever something new presented itself, I would dig, and it had to make sense to me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because people will sell you down the river and test things on you that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of that, process the hard way. But, through and through, you just have to kind of, the real key is to just never give up. Just continue on.
And it's like what you also mentioned briefly off camera when you were talking about your intro. And you were like, it's only a line, but I didn't memorize it yet. And my response was, why use your genius brain power to remember things that you can have a tool, a piece of paper with a prompt, or, your phone, or, you don't, and again, these are types of ideas that I've always had very early on. It's like, I feel it's actually part of my personality. And it's why I would always challenge people when, they would tell me something and I would ask a question about why is that thing so? And usually, especially when I was younger, it would be like, oh, you're a child, you don't understand. And I'm like, what? You are an adult and you don't understand. Like, that's why you can't tell me. I mean, my dad would always just take me to the library. He's like, oh, Malika's asking another thing I don't know. Let's go to the library.
Challenging the status.
I lived at the library. I always had a ton of books. I still always have that. I'm always surrounded by books. I'm always reading books.
Same here.
I always tell myself I'm not buying a book about a different topic.
Because you have a love and a thirst for learning, and and you apply it very well. And as I told you before off camera,
the more you learn is the better questions you can ask about a thing. Even if you're not an expert in that thing, you get to learn when someone's bullshitting you, because it's like, I don't know the answer, but that doesn't even make.
It's not adding up. It's not adding up. So what is the phrase? Measure twice, cut once. Yeah. I have to be absolutely 100% sure that it makes sense to me. And I call, like, quote unquote officials, and I harass them because that's what they're there for.
Yes.
And the people in the groups are not the officials. They're just, the theorists, they are the philosophers, and I just follow through and I do my own due diligence, and I call the IRS, the CIA, the FBI, everybody. I call because that's what they're there for. What you scared of?
When the FBI came to visit me and about my non-government ID, I kept telling them, I said it at least a half dozen times, I want to be known. I'm trying to be seen. I called the director of the TSA. I wrote the director. I still haven't got a. Do you know why he hasn't called me back? And the younger guy was just like, do you know what would happen to me if I called you called the director of the TSA? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you know what would happen to me if it was found out that I called the director of another department without some type of clearance? And I just looked at him like, yeah, well, I'm not a government employee. That don't have nothing to do with me. I can call anybody, all y'all.
You
I can call
put
a
on-
conference with y'all. I
He
want
put
all
on
y'all
his-
to show up on this
his
conference.
pants 1 foot
this
at a
day.
time, right? 1 foot at a time. You know, but they idolize these people, and they have them, you know, up on a pedestal to the point where they're like afraid and intimidated. And that's just never
Even
been
within the government. That
Within the
guy was
government.
like, what? Do you know what happened to me? And I'm thinking, what? Because
Let me tell
whatever's
you.
going to happen to you is not going to happen to me. We on two different levels over here.
Let me tell you, even when I was in the lion's den, so to speak, because I didn't retire from the military. I left the military doing my time. I just didn't re-sign up. I was like, that's it. It's not for me. But when I was in the Navy, I just always had this self-assurance. I don't know where that strength came from. I just always been this way. I questioned. My first word was probably why? 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 You know? And so when I was in the
All the
Navy,
babies are just saying why. You're saying why?
why? Not why?
Right? Why?
Why? I need to know. And then when you didn't answer that properly, it was another why.
Yeah.
But basically, it was so hilarious to me to see these high-ranking officials, in the Navy who would
Can't ask
kowtow.
why.
Huh?
They didn't ask why. They couldn't even understand why.
No, they were so afraid and intimidated. I was on this special operation, and I still laugh about it when I talk about it, because it's funny to think that these so-called men and women, of the brass, with power. I mean, I'm talking high ranking. They would come to me because I guess I just had that spirit about me, child. I just listened. They would come to me whenever we had a visit from like the 4-star general or the admiral. I'm talking about the upper echelon. When they were coming by the base, right, they would call me. My superiors, my so-called superiors who outranked me by several ranks, they would come to me. Oh, can you do the presentation? Can you do? Why?
Ask them.
First of all, you're not supposed to ask why. And second of all, no, I had them eating out of the palms of my fingers, because you know why? Because they knew that I just had a confidence. I just always like, why am I going to be fearful of another human being who puts on their pants one leg at a time, just like me?
I used to work as a manager at Abercrombie, and I got into conflict with another manager.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't understand why I didn't give her this like reverence.
Yeah.
For being the lead manager at the store where we were all managers.
Yeah.
Which meant that technically, same rank, right? I can't fire her. She can't fire me. We all have the same one boss, but she felt like maybe because she was there first, or that she was just labeled as the head, that like that was something I should revere. And she would literally say things like, oh, I bet if it were insert higher up, you wouldn't be talking to them like that. And I'd be like, bring him on.
Yeah, she doesn't get it.
I don't think I'm talking to you in any derogatory way.
No.
I wouldn't talk to anyone else, period, regardless of if they, I'm not, those ranks, I don't know who they're for. They're for someone, but it ain't me. That stuff is, I don't care what rank you are. I will speak to you.
I'm not impressed by title. I'm not impressed by money. I'm not impressed by any of those things. I know what impresses me: being kind.
I'm not, like she literally think I'm talking to her. I guess maybe because she felt a way, because I wasn't bowing, perhaps.
Yeah.
It seemed just rude because I wasn't bowing, and I'm like, I don't understand why people get that I'm rude.
Is that ego? Is that ego?
She's fucking up my ego. She's harming me. She's damaging me. I'm being hurt because she's not buying into my poor self-image and
Yeah.
pumping me up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's just been and a very interesting evolution in my life journey, because I've always been this way. From the time I was born. I just always knew that, you treat me with respect and kindness and love, and I come from a place of love, and we're all good. I don't care where I am, and I don't care who you think you are. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way. And I have always respected everyone regardless.
That always tripped me out about adults that didn't seem to understand that concept. So they thought, like, of course they can talk to a child anyway, like, me as a child. And my
Yeah.
parents would have to warn adults, don't play that with Malika.
No.
Don't play that.
And you know what? Let's touch
They're
on.
not gonna, like, the adults know. My parents are not gonna believe you if you just say I'm being rude to you. They're not gonna believe you because
No.
I'm not.
Let me just touch on something that, oh my gosh, it just creeps me out so bad with the whole Facebook group thing, when someone feels that they have knowledge that you don't, and they start talking down at people. Let me tell you, there's a spirit in these groups that is just so pervasive that they feel that they have some kind of right to speak down and talk down to people, and I just can't stand it. I don't know how to wash it away, because so many times I came close to cussing some people out, but I said, I said, you know what? Free will reigns, and if that's how they want to operate. However, in Iron Sharpens Iron Council, that's just not the spirit that needs to, remain in the group.
It's an interesting phenomena because I feel like, again, it comes from what happens on a playground usually. You have your cliques, you have your bullies, you have your loners, you have your nerds, and I feel that there are people who, is it called supplication? They supplicate themselves and they say, oh, wise one, so when you see my head, you're bowing, I know I'm not as learned as you, but can you please give me the link or whatever? And they play into the role of being spoken down to.
Yeah.
And perhaps they don't mind. But for example, there is a process called secure party creditor, which after reviewing it for years, I came to the realization that it is wholly unnecessary.
Totally.
More of a distraction and a waste of resources of all kinds if anyone invests anything wholeheartedly into it. And I think since it didn't make sense, like when I first started studying it, that's why I said for years, I wasn't actually like looking at it for years, but every time it would come up, I'd go, maybe there's something I'm missing. Let me go back. And it's like, yeah, but you went to jail, or yeah, but you still lost your house, or yeah, but you still owe those credit cards though. So what exactly did that process do for you? Nada. So guess what I'm going to do to it? And that's the end. And so when, for example, I'll express that and someone comes and tries to say, oh, well, it's because you don't know this insert special thing I just said. And it's like, wow, how is that even relevant?
But you know what?
Like, see, you're so like, down there, you're not even understanding my words.
But you know what? Listen, don't interfere with grown folks. That when they're determined to do something, far be it from me for me to tell people that they are wrong, because I began to say, you can do what you want to do, but I'm going to do what's best for me. This is what I would do. I always try to preface it with, this is what I would do. I'm not telling you what to do.
I like to give the why though. The why. So it's like, I I think it's this because
Yes.
insert the what is legit, and anybody could go and look for themselves. What
Yeah.
I've learned, for example, is
Yeah.
even if one does that process, if they don't actually know how to do a proper special appearance motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction, you could file that UCC1, authenticate your birth certificate, slam it in there, and be like, sovereign, and they'll be like,
Yeah. Mental
guilty
days.
or denied or whatever. Like we
So
call it where I'm
psyche
from,
bow.
we call it daunting. We call it daunting. Like do not pass, do not go, we
Yeah.
just say you get don't.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
denied. It's like no. And if it's not so-called working to do that, then what exactly is the purpose? And that's the type of mindset I would encourage all of us to develop. Like is it a waste of time? How can I tell if this thing is a waste of time? And these are some of the things that people could look for, whatever whatever those things are. There's things you look for to be like, is this waste time? When you're in those groups, especially when the so-called leader or the one who put it together is rarely ever available to answer.
You know what?
Repetitive over and over, but very legitimate. Okay, question. That's a red flag to me.
The overriding truth of the matter is this is a very individual and individualistic journey. You have to be willing to put in the time and the work and the research to get to your remedy. Looking for
something sounds so awesome, like if all I have to do, because one of the reasons I just want to say, because this is my personal thing, like I am not birthed in USA, okay? USA Inc. of no version, USA regular de jure, whatever. That's not. My parents didn't have sex and push out babies in this fake border, okay? So for them to say to me, this process is the only thing that's gonna work. And then it's like, well, I don't have any of that shit that you guys are saying is the reason why they're fucking with me. I don't have any of that, and they're still messing with me. So they're out. What you're saying is the cause. It's not the cause, because I don't have a long form. My birth certificate is handwritten on a piece of paper that if I open it again will probably fall apart. Okay, it is not a bond paper. I don't even know if I could order another one. I'm from third world country, so when they try to say this stuff is only supposed to work like this, it's like, so what's what am I gonna do? Because they still trying to take my shit, and I'm not pledged by my mama to the Federal Reserve. Okay.
That's when I knew. That's what opened up, because I was born in Panama, and that's when I knew when I started to research this situation that we have here. I was like, lies you tell.
Yes, you see, and I'm always the one to mess up the whole thread when I say that. Like, well, I was not. I don't even know if the hospital. If I was born in the hospital, how about that? I don't know what the shit was. Okay, I don't really know. Like, it's all hearsay anyway, if you understand that part. But I think people get confused when the process sounds like, oh, well, I have a birth certificate. And I mean, as soon as I started looking at that UCC1 form, and I took calculus too from high school. So I can study, okay? I can look at some shit for a long time and figure it out. And when I'm looking at that form, I'm like, no, it's not making I don't think this is actually for me.
That's because you know what, Malika, that's a part of the process of, the blame game. And if it's, not taking responsibility, that it must be somebody else's fault. It must be somebody else's responsibility.
Yeah.
So that's a part of that, herd mentality that it's really hard to break through.
Oh, I call it the victim Olympics.
Yeah. I like that.
And I call the participants victim Olympiad.
Yes.
And of course, it pisses people off because I like to be a mirror. I was like, oh, it's someone else doing it. Did you sign the fake ass unconstitutional driver's license application or not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of people, for example, that they're talking about this social contract and it's like, and they're over here like, well, the social contract is fake. It doesn't exist. I didn't sign anything, even though it doesn't. Don't talk. The social contract is, I don't know if it's a word or a term created by the anarchists, whatever they call themselves, who want to pretend like they're victims as well. But it's like, did you enroll your child in le public?
In school.
Le public. Did you enroll your child? Did you apply for things like assistance? Did you fill out the W-9? I work independently with a bunch of people. And there's this one company that I work with still that invites me weekly to fill out a W-9. And I'm like, how can I unsubscribe from this email? Because long as y'all keep sending them checks, I am not printing and signing that form. I'm not filling it out online. And they just keeps, and I think it's hilarious because it says invitation. It doesn't say requirements, necessity, must. It says invitation, which means I can decline.
Yeah.
So we've been working together for 6 months.
Yeah.
We've been working together for 6 months and the checks have always cleared. So when people tell me taxation is theft, can you prove that? Why are you telling on yourself? Why are you applying to be liable? It says right on the top, voluntary. So when you find yourself volunteering and you no longer wish, you should probably cancel the same way you initiated, which is with paper.
Isn't that a novel?
Yes, I changed my mind. Now I'm saying no.
Yeah, which you can at any given moment in time. So
Yes.
it's really just that simple. People like to overcomplicate. I like to oversimplify because I like simple things.
Yes, I get accused with oversimplifying because it's like, it really is like really basic. Like, and as soon as I got to that part where it's like, oh, someone sent me an invitation. It literally says invitation. When you stop watching the mainstream media who like to imply how things are supposed to work in society. For example, they always paint the police as the good guy. They always, show you the good cops getting the bad cops. Get that out of your mind. There's nobody that's going to show up to save you. Okay. When I got to the point where I realized that unless there is a grand jury indictment that then created a warrant, they're not even supposed to be, government employees are not even supposed to be looking in our direction.
Right. You have to be your own hero.
Yes. But it takes not being distracted by, I don't even want to say it, but it really is all these paid processes. Now, actual paperwork that you need, you're going to need. Whether it's a motion to dismiss, motion to strike, a writ of repleblin, writs of this and that, you're going to need examples of those things. Okay, that's totally different. But when you're talking about entire processes that are wholly unnecessary, like the secured party creditor BS, while people are in the middle of a foreclosure that they could stop with a proper motion to dismiss.
I know. Let me tell you, Malika, this is hilarious.
Somebody needs to say something about your scamming self.
I have a friend who paid thousands of dollars for a so-called SPC process that delivered to him 81 different affidavits, motions, documents, files. It was ungodly. It was ridiculous. And he's still in the same boat or probably worse off for filing
Yeah,
all.
because then it's the information dump where they, you know, your mind ain't right. So you don't know what you're looking for. You
18
don't know what
months.
it's supposed, you know, like in those movies where, you know, the cop comes in or with his partner and they start looking around and the partner says, well, what are we looking for? And the other one says, well, I don't know, but I'll know it when I see it. We have to get to that place where we're like, I don't really know. But hopefully if I keep my wits about me,
Right.
I'll know when I see it.
Right.
You know, and some of us are just, again, caught up in the, when someone says, oh, people are literally telling themselves the reason why something doesn't make sense is because they don't know enough. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense because it makes no sense.
Right.
It literally doesn't make sense to you. But that's the way that self-confidence comes from. If you tell yourself, I'm a thinking person, I'm a logical person, I'm a reasonable person, and this is still not making sense to me, it's because it doesn't make sense. Not because you're stupid or you need to learn more before you can get this. Like, don't let people insult your intelligence.
Bottom line is you have to reverse engineer some of these things, and it just never made sense to me that you have to file a million different things to unravel, you know, the truth, when you didn't have to do a million things to get into the trouble. So why do you need 81 documents?
I mean,
yeah, I'm telling you, 81.
Because I think part of that is the marketing, like I mentioned before. I have my background is in marketing. I've been in marketing and sales since before I was 18. My parents have always owned their own business, and I've always helped my parents own their own business. I think I was 12 when I became the secretary in the articles of incorporation of one of my parents' import-export business to the Caribbean. And I was the accountant from before, like when I was in regular grade school, I was accountant, you know, for my family. And I used to see my parents keep receipts on a opened up wire hanger. They would just slide all the receipts on to just do the taxes, you know. But that's my background's in sales and marketing, and I see clearly through so many things. And I think it's because of my background in sales and marketing, I can tell when someone is just crafting words. We call it copywriting.
Yes.
We call it writing copy.
Yes.
And copywriting, literally. So
that's
I know when I'm being copyrighted. You know, I know when someone is just, like I mentioned, you know, I say call it, you know, when rape. Everybody knows what rape is, but if someone redefined it as a surprise exchange of bodily fluid, it wouldn't be a lie, but it definitely is misleading, even though it is accurate. And that is the way that a lot of people speak. And when they're trying to sell you something. And so if I'm giving you 80, you know, if I'm charging you X dollars, I have to justify it by giving you a large file. I'm surprised it wasn't 800 pages.
It's ridiculous.
I'm selling it to you for $5 a page. That's a bargain. Here's 80 pages.
They know. Bargain basement prices. So I just wanted to let's kind of wrap up this particular session, because I think that you know, the resounding message that I guess, you know, both, you know, Malika and I were just trying to impress upon you guys, you the listener, you know, to just, you know, make sure that you understand who you are, and make sure that whatever the process is makes sense to you, and do consider the source. You know, just little, you know, simple common sense, you know, little nuggets I just wanted to kind of like, you know, finalize this session here with. So I'll just do a really quick. Do you have any final words so that we can close this out?
I just want to say that the truth is simple. And as soon as something starts getting overcomplicated, they're lying. Someone's lying, or we're missing something, because the truth is very simple.
Yeah, let me tell you, the document that I had received from you, I knew, like I said, off camera, and I'll say it on camera, I knew you were the real deal because everything that you disclosed in that document made sense. It was clear, and it was not confusing. How about that? Like, I just knew. And so I just strive with the documents that I put together and the courses. I don't know if you've got wind of the situation, but I am going to leave Facebook or Fakebook. And so I have been trying to leave a legacy of courses. And let me tell you, part and parcel, because I'm just tired of the disinformation and the bickering, and my mind just need a break, right? It's no any one thing. It's just a lot of different things. Right. And I just need a little bit of time. I'm not trying to become a hermit or anything like that, but I am going to take a minute to hit the reset button.
It's amazing for running a group, and I think that might be one of the reasons it's easier for me to disconnect, because I don't have the responsibility.
Yes.
Of seeing all the BS. And I know that I was telling my sister today that if I speak on a friend's post, like someone I actually like, I'm their friend, not just like a page, okay? Mm-hmm. If I speak on their thing, their thread, and especially if me and that friend are not agreeing on whatever the topic might be at the moment, if someone I don't know, which is likely one of their friends, comments on the same thread, but they don't like what I said, I don't even go back to look, because I don't want to be tempted to start talking to that other person about anything, because they're obviously probably on the same wavelength with my friend I'm disagreeing with. So they can just sit back and watch however that develops without me having to engage with them.
Yeah.
And not having a page responsibility like you do. I know you have a huge responsibility. So kudos to you for even putting all that together and having the heart and, the faith that people will be able to grasp the simplicity of what you're sharing and more importantly, apply it.
Thank you. It is a labor of love, but the need is so great, and it's become a bit overwhelming because yes, it's a constant barrage.
Don't leave. Just close the group. See if that helps.
It's a constant barrage of emergencies and urgencies, and it's like all of that, I take on because I'm very empathetic, and I feel, and I get it, and so, but I'm nobody's savior, and I'm nobody's leader, and I don't want to be propped up like that, and so I just need to kind of step back, and in that process of leaving, I decided to put together very oversimplified, in my true nature, courses, okay, because the solution doesn't have to be complicated, right? The most recent one that I published on the, I call it the Educator Network, was how to legally and lawfully stop child support. And it's really so simple that it's laughable, but people don't get it, and they, they're going to be pleasantly surprised that I've simplified it because I have the heart to help. It's not about, beating people over the head with my knowledge or anything like that. Everything that I do is about empowerment, but it's about self-empowerment. Right? And it's about you knowing who you are and having that confidence to stick it out to the end.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
a lot of people do not have that confidence. I mean, I don't know if we stressed it enough here, and I mean, whatever you need to do to get some confidence, like seriously, you have to have some self-confidence, because if you don't have self-confidence, led around by the nose, serious.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm just trying to leave, a small little, legacy of everything that I've learned, because I want to help. I have the heart to help. I don't want to just leave with all this knowledge and information.
Don't leave. You might have to just back out of the groups. I'm being for real. I've had to do that. I had a fitness page where I started because I wanted to help people avoid getting diabetes or
Mhm.
reverse their diabetes and manage or reverse their hypertension with changing their lifestyle. And simple changes, just like, I'm sure, because it's all science, simple science. And had similar things. And I was like, you know what? I'm just closing down this page. I'm going to still do exactly what I teach. But y'all gonna have to come and ogle over my food and my pictures, and I'm not gonna tell you anything because I don't want to be in y'all mess. Okay? I
Yeah,
have people with Coca-Cola addictions and all kinds of stuff, looking for me to help them, and that I felt like what you seem to be describing.
yeah. I'm not gone forever. I'm just trying to take a break, a much needed mental break, because I promise you the outreach has been amazing, but also overwhelming, because people put their issues on me as if I'm supposed to save everybody, and that's just not going to happen. I just have to take a minute, and I'll still be on YouTube, and trying to develop this thing. But as far as the groups and all of that, I'm just gonna have no participation for a while, just to kind of take a mental vacation that is needed. That's all. That's all. I'll be back. I'm not just, I know what I need, and I have to, pay attention to that, for my own mental health and sanity.
Yeah.
Insanity. So with that being said, thank you for joining me. This was amazing. Guys, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, because that's how we grow. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you don't miss an upload. And I'm forgetting something. Oh, until next time, be safe, everybody. Peace, bliss, and positive vibes only, because we love you, and we're here to just grow together, and nobody's on top of nobody. Nobody's greater than nobody. Just want to kind of finalize with that. And leave positive comments. Any negative comments will be read but not responded to. So
Yeah.
thank you. We'll see you again on the next session. Peace, everybody.